Hey everyone, it's technology expert Burton Kelso here with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're talking about how you can find out what technology the Chinese are spying on. So a few weeks ago we were worried about Chinese weather balloons and spy balloons, but truth be told, the Chinese have been spying on their devices for years. And it's time that you know what devices they're looking at. And obviously, number one at the top of that list is going to be good old TikTok. And understand that the Chinese are spying on our apps. So, one of the big areas is TikTok, but also they're spying on Discord and WeChat because those are Chinese based companies. Now, keep in mind when it comes to spying, it doesn't necessarily mean that these companies that are Chinese owned are actually working to spy on us. What the situation is in communist China, the Chinese government at any time can come in and say, hey, we want to check out your company and see what you're holding back. And that's what usually the real threat is when it comes to Chinese spying. Meaning the government at any time can take a look at what those companies are doing and use it for their own advantages. And the challenge is we don't know when these companies are being contacted by the Chinese government or the communist Chinese government to find out what information they have. So the I was going to say the FCC or the Department of Defense is at the point where it's better to be safer. Sorry. Same thing with you. So I wanted to create this video to kind of give you options so that you can understand how might the Chinese spy our information and what tools they'll use because a lot of people were upset about the balloon, but at the same time, it's been going on for years through our tech devices. So next, other than well-known apps like WeChat and TikTok and Discord, you have to think about the whole video game system. And video games obviously have been around, but you probably didn't realize that Chinese companies are snatching up all sorts of video game companies like Epic, who makes Fortnite and other popular games out there. Most video games are under one parent company like EA, and a lot of those companies are Chinese based. Now, why would you worry about video game option or being spied on by the Chinese? Well, most video games are online, and you're going to have to enter in some personal information, or your kids are going to have to enter in personal information in order to get access to those web-based games. So it makes it a perfect scenario for the Chinese government and for the video game manufacturers to collect that precious data in order to harvest it and use it for whatever means they are going to use it for. Next on our list is look out for computers and associated peripherals. Now, associated peripherals. So we'll talk about computers in a minute, but associated peripherals would be like printers. Lexmark got caught spying Department of Defense printers that they purchased from Lexmark, and they were actually spying and taking out information. Now, as far as computers are concerned, this is kind of a catch-22 because one of the things that you have to realize with technology in today's world is that it can be assembled in China and in the US. And it's almost impossible to build tech devices without having some ties to China because semiconductor parts come out of China. And believe it or not, there are US based companies where the majority of those items are built here in the United States. Now, not Lexmark, but Lenovo. I knew it was an L word. They were accused of, or the Chinese was accused of putting spyware on Lenovo computer devices probably about 8 or 9 years ago. So the Department of Defense has been leery about purchasing Lenovo computers for government purposes just for that reason. So again, it's not to say that Dell parts don't come out of China, because some of them do. But at the same note, you really have to look at the devices that have been accused of being spying in order to help make informed devices about or informed choices about the devices you're going to bring into your home or your business. Next on our list is smartphones are smart for a reason. That's right. If you, and you don't have to worry if you're an Apple user, I almost said Android, but yeah, if you're an Apple user, a lot of Apple parts are built here in the US. In fact, if you're an Apple user, you'll notice it'll say made in the USA or made in Cupertine, California. Now, that's mostly true. The people that need to be weary are the Android users. So, in most instances, if you purchase like a Samsung Android phone, you're going to be fine. But when you start looking at those inexpensive models of Android devices, that's when you start to get into some shady area, as is that device manufactured by a Chinese company who has put out the phone only for the sole purpose of collecting your data. Now, Apple or iPhones normally come with just the minimum apps, and you can add those apps onto your smart devices. But many times, Android manufacturers will load on a ton of apps in order to help keep the cost of the phone down, because they have different sponsors that will pay to have their apps allowed on those phones. But part of the challenge is that sometimes those app manufacturers are companies that are producing spyware to collect your data. So I know when it comes to technology, it's an uneven playing field, and not everyone can afford an iPhone or let alone any Apple product because they are pricey. But when you look at your Android phones, make sure that you verify, especially the cheaper the device, that they are manufactured here in the U.S. or don't have as many ties to China as you would think. Now, the next one's going to surprise you. Yes, your home appliances can definitely be an informant for the information that is in your smart home. So remember, all or a vast majority of semiconductors come out of China, and it's a good possibility, or they could have the capacity to modify those semiconductors so that they can collect information on you. Why? Who knows? But with AI emerging, definitely things can happen so that it can be used against you in whatever war situation comes out. Now, so the question is that's a tough one. So what technology is made in the USA? It's huge, because believe it or not, there are at least 46 companies that make technology in the US. And it would be a long video if I went through and what they talked about. So what I'm going to do is go through some of the companies and say what they do, but I will direct you to our website at either burtonkelso.com or callintegralnow.com. On our website, there's a blog post that's similar to this video that will list out all of the companies that PC Magazine identified as producing stuff in the US. So the top few that I will talk about are the following. Number one, we're talking about Global Foundries, which is based in the East Coast, and they make wafers for AMD processors and cars. Now that kind of explains why there was a problem during the semiconductor shortage last year, meaning that some components of cars were able to be put together and other components were not, because they were relying on parts in China. And again, in today's society, because the Chinese have the largest semiconductor plants in the world, it's almost impossible to get something that is completely US based that will, as far as technology is concerned, that you can say truly made in the USA. Next, you'd be surprised because it's a processor, and it's Intel. Intel makes all of their processors here in the United States. It doesn't matter if it's a Celeron i3, i5, i7, or even an i9. All processors are made here in the United States, so you'd be surprised. Now, when it comes to storage devices, Micron makes a lot of RAM chips and a lot of hard drives here in the United States. And that's good because you've got a processor and a hard drive, which are the most important aspects of running a desktop or a laptop computer, and they are made in the USA. Another company you can look at, and before I go forward with that, Micron also makes crucial solid state hard drives. You'll see the next slide and see what prompted me to bring that up. But yeah, Crucial makes RAM and they make solid state hard drives, and it's all made in the USA. Next would be P&Y, which is another company that makes USB drives. They make external they kind of do make external hard drives, and they make solid state hard drives, either NVMe solid states, which you just saw on the screen there, and they make the traditional 2.5 inch solid state hard drives. Next is Texas Instruments, believe it or not. Texas Instruments makes some processors still here in the States, and it's good to know that good old TI, as I will say, definitely makes. Why am I bringing this up? I meant to go to. I was going to show you that article in a little bit, but yeah, I wanted to show you some of the other companies that are making processors. And I'm on the website, and did I update the website? Let me take a look and see if we've got the list of products on there. I think I need to refresh, and then we'll bring it up, and you can see the products that are actually listed. And it's up. So let's go back to our desktop. There we go. So again, here are some more companies. We talked about Global Foundries, Micron, OFS, which makes giant spools of fiber optic cable for everybody in the U.S. Now, the ones that I missed was Qorvo, which actually, let me show you their logo, and then Skyworks, which are two important ones because there's Qorvo, which actually makes parts for iPhones, and then there is Skyworks, which makes parts for iPhone as well. So Qorvo and Skyworks are competitors, but they both make parts that belong in iPhone devices. So that's why iPhone can kind of, sort of say, hey, we are made in the USA. But keep in mind, too, I will show you the link to the article that you want to look at if you want to find out more products, so that I'm not taking an hour explaining who does what. Definitely check out our blog post at callintegralnow.com and go to the main website so that you can kind of see what's going on. So there's our website for callintegral.com, and then you can just go to blog right there. And the other website, you can check out my own website at burtonkelso.com, and you can go to blog as well to check out the blog posts there. So there you have it. Hopefully you have found this video helpful, because one of the things I didn't want to do is to scare you into thinking that everything's coming out of China and there's nothing that you can do in order to at least purchase something U.S. based. And one final thing, if you want to read the whys and why nots of why technology is not completely made in the USA, be sure to check out PC Magazine's great article. And I'll bring it up, and there it is, published in 2001 by Sasha Segan. And the article is called Silicon USA, Technology That's Actually Made in America. So fear not, folks. Stuff's still being made here in the U.S., but not completely because of the way things are. And one of the reasons why all technology is not made in the United States, they want to keep technology affordable. And the best way to do that is to have some stuff manufactured here and some stuff manufactured in China. But keep in mind that the Chinese government could be spying on some of your technology. So hopefully this video has enlightened you on what that tech is. So as always, if you've got comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'd love to hear from you to find out what questions or comments you might have about Chinese spying on our tech. And with every video, I always ask it, wherever you're watching this video, to be sure to comment, like it, and share it, because I know that you have people that love to know the latest about technology and all that's going on. So my goal with technology is to open you up to a whole new world of experience, ideas, and experiences I love technology. I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun, safe, and easy to use for everyone. So take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile. And thanks for watching.